Dun, 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 dun. Welcome to another episode of What You Watching with your girl B Brown the Revolutionary.
And your good sis, Sunshine La Reina.
And on this episode of What You Watching, we want to know, what have you watched lately? Because we came across a good old documentary, which is some of my favorite stuff to dig into because
Yeah.
it be real.
Yeah.
And this situation is just too much. Sunshine, can you please inform the people of what done went on in these what you're
Okay.
watching streets?
Okay, so my wisdom tooth coming in. So I was up, I was in some pain. I was strolling through Netflix and them Netflix streets, and I had watched the previous series, and this one popped up, and I was like, making a murderer. That looks good. Let's watch. So it's
Mm-hmm.
about this man. His name is Stephen Avery. He lives in this town called Manitowoc. It's over in Wisconsin. Now it's a farm town. Basically, they're all like farmers and people of what are quote like quote unquote good backgrounds and good jobs, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Avery family happened to own a junkyard.
Mm-hmm.
And owning a junkyard is not really something that people find too reputable. I don't know why. Who does what town does not need a junkyard?
Exactly.
I've gotten a battery, a car door or mirror or two on the low from a junkyard. You know,
Mm,
it's a very
exactly.
reputable business. However, like the Avery family, like as a whole, I guess they're like a menace to the town or whatever because not many people like them. And they're not very educated people either.
Right.
So I feel like the initial altercation, like why the town, bu- well, not just the town, like why the sheriff's office was initially against him, was because he had gotten into a beef with his cousin. And his cousin she had been going around town saying that he was doing some very illicit sexual things, him by himself and his
Mm-hmm.
wife. And he found out about it, so he ran her off the road. Like he ran her off the road and confronted her with a weapon that he said was empty. So now his cousin happened to be married to the deputy sheriff.
Mm.
So she went and told the cops, and then they were just like harassing him and harassing him. And then she gave this like I watched the deposition, and it was wild to me how everything that she said she didn't say.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
the guy was like, "You told the police." Oh well, I didn't say it like that, or I didn't say those exact words.
Mm.
And I'm like, yo, like y'all, wow.
Wait a second. Can you remind the people exactly what a deposition is?
A deposition is like that's like the piece of paper that you go when you tell the people like these are my sworn words. This is what had happened at this particular time, and this is why I got the police involved. This is what I said under oath to the people.
Right. And sometimes that can be a deposition video as well.
Yes, because it was both. Because she was on the video the second time reading the deposition she gave the first time, saying what she said the first time was a lie the second time. I was like, whoa,
Mm, mm, mm.
whoa.
That's
And it was just
crazy.
like, yeah, no, I mean, I ain't say it like that. Or, man, I ain't really mean it like that. Like, y'all took it out of context. Like,
Mm,
it was not a big thing. Like, you went to these people and said that this man was doing this illicit things,
mm-hmm.
and you were like, you ain't even say that.
Yeah, that's basically how the world works now.
Yeah, you just say whatever and like just because I felt like it and it just is what it is, and even people can't like fix their reputations and whatnot.
That's why it's really good at this point in time to have video. Okay.
Yes, record, record, record everything. I promise
Yes.
you.
Yes.
But then no, because like it gets a little bit deeper than that, right? Because I believe like nothing came of that instance between his cousin and him. However, he was like I think he was charged with having a firearm. He had been earlier charged with like with burglary. Now, I mean, I'm not going to say this man was a saint. He was no saint, okay? He had been charged and convicted of like a burglary. He said it was unintentional that he threw a cat and the cat unintentionally caught fire. So
Oh
he ain't
wow.
meaning to do it. It just the people was fooling around with a cat and he was like, get it out of here, but it happened to catch on fire.
Can I really, really quick just let the people know that he may did not intend to set the cat afire because, and I don't mean this in no harmful type of way, but his IQ is a 70.
7 and a 0.
So, you know, the man is not that bright. Okay?
At all. At all.
I'm not saying that to put him down. I'm saying
Mm-mm.
it because it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure what exactly causes you to have an IQ that low, but I just know that he has one. So
It seems to be a familial thing. It does.
yeah, yeah,
Because his nephew's IQ was a 73.
exactly.
They're not like the brightest bulbs in broken boxes. You know, they're good, they're sweet, but it's not they can't pull off any kind of elaborate scheme, if that
Right,
makes any sense. Their thought process is like not a cause and effect. It's just a react and I'm gonna throw a tantrum if it don't go my way. Kind of like a 2-year-old child in a sense, you know?
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This
But
is
then
true.
it doesn't like his trouble with the police and the law, it don't stop there. Because like as a people, the town does not like him or his family.
No, like they are disliked so much. And they're disliked to a point where okay, y'all just picking on them now.
Yes. Bullies.
Yeah. Like at some point in time it was like, okay, I don't like a person, so I just don't deal with them. But no, no, it was never that. It's always been something, behind the scenes with these
Hmm.
with these people. Like they just don't like them.
But
They
it's
they don't like them because they're not prestigious. They
yeah,
are.
like they have their own road.
Right, and they got their
All
own
that.
land, y'all. They got acres of land, so it ain't that dang on stupid.
Right. They got the whole big old junkyard. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? And just because they didn't make their money the way that the other folks did, that didn't give them a right to judge them. And just because they didn't dress a particular way or act a particular way, they didn't give them a right to judge him the way that they did. Like, and just like he was a little bit mentally deficient. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like you
those
would
are the
think you'd be
facts.
nicer to somebody that's mentally deficient.
Exactly.
You know, but
But
no.
all in all, they took this man life from him. Y'all,
Oh
they gave this man 18 years. He went to jail
no.
for 18 years the first go round.
He did 18. I think he was sentenced to 20. He did 18 or
Hmm.
something like that for something that the first time he went in, he was 22 when he went in.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, could you imagine that?
18 years, y'all, of this man's life. And when it all come down to it, when you watching this series, you're gonna realize that at some point in time, the police made a decision that they was gonna make this man suffer.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like they had a point to prove, and it was just like, you are who we want you to be, and we are going to lock you up. Like,
Mm-hmm.
their
Mm-hmm.
ego, no, you know what it was? Their egos were so blown
That's
when
it.
when that conviction was overturned.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
that was. Their egos were so blown because this quote unquote simple minded man, like, he got off and then he sued them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he stayed there and sued them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, he
Well,
had gonads.
yeah. Like they could not handle the fact that he went against them, won, and stayed.
Yes.
Like, how dare you even try it, buddy? It's what
Hmm.
I got. It's what I got from it. Like, y'all really was just mad.
But it's like, I don't like, the first time around he went to jail. He went to prison for rape.
Mm-hmm.
That's when a male or a female has non-consensual uh, intercourse with another person.
Mm-hmm.
No, he went to jail and also for attempted murder. Like,
Mm-hmm.
did 18 years. And they knew he didn't do it. Like, they
Mm-hmm.
knew that. Had that whole
Right.
other man's file, his picture and everything. Apparently, didn't they say that he confessed? He was like, there's a whole nother man in jail for this crime I committed. After he, like, brutally beat and assaulted two other women.
Exactly.
They were so mad at that man that they let, like, a violent offender roam the streets just to keep this man locked up for what?
Exactly. I mean, it's disgusting. It's really disgusting, and I am glad that Netflix did a series on this because you know no one should have to go through anything like this. It's horrible.
Hmm. It's
It's
de-
horrible.
it's depraved. It's really messed up. I was glad that they got the DNA evidence and he was exonerated and he was set free. But they said the people told him, it was like, yeah, like, you need to be careful. You need to be careful of you making this allegations, you doing this lawsuit against the people, and you still living there. Like, that was kind of ballsy.
I just think that he was used to that place and he didn't want to leave.
They had a whole road named after them. So, but then I kept watching, and it just got worse and worse because
Mm,
after he was exonerated from the rape and attempted murder of Penny Bernstein, it, it was like a year later, maybe a year later,
mm-hmm.
they said that he unalived Teresa Hallback.
Yeah.
Like, year.
Yeah.
And it was crazy sitting there watching the documentary and watching their quote unquote evidence and trying to understand how they found that man guilty.
Right. Right. It was no way in the world they found that man guilty. Like, no, no.
It's the same people that he is suing, the same police department that he is suing is investigating this crime.
Exactly.
The same people from the same police department that he is suing is finding all of the evidence. Even after the place has been searched and searched and searched. They searched this place for months, and nobody found anything. But the second they come on the scene, they're finding keys that only have his DNA on it.
Yeah.
The entire place, from what I've seen, I am only on episode 10. From what I have seen, they found none of this woman's DNA in any of the place. Not in the junkyard, not in his home. In his home, they said that him his nephew said that he and Stephen, they sexually assaulted her, they shot her, and they stabbed her. No blood, no blood whatsoever.
That's crazy. That is crazy. It was just so many things wrong about how they basically just set him up. They made him look one way, made him out to be this person that he wasn't. And yeah, he had made a few mistakes in his life. Mind you, he was much younger when he made those mistakes. But the fact that they continued on after this man,
Yes.
it just I couldn't believe it. And the fact that these people can lie under oath, let me know that y'all don't care nothing about God. It don't matter to y'all. Because long as y'all can just say what y'all want to say and get people locked up, y'all cool with it.
Mhm.
Y'all cool with it.
Yeah, it was crazy how they manipulated the evidence, how they actually manipulated his nephew, who was 16 at the time, said that he assisted in the unaliving of of the woman.
Yeah, he
His
said that.
IQ was 73.
Mm, mm, mm.
I watched the interrogation between himself, and mind you, he was only 16, which means he's underage, which means he had to have his a parent or a guardian or some kind of legal person there to represent him because he is a minor. He had no
Right,
There was no one there.
right.
He was so easily manipulated into saying everything they wanted him to say. It was ridiculous.
And by the time he realized that he had said something that could have possibly cost him his life, y'all, it was over with. They had already ran amok on them. It was really sad. It was really sad to see.
Yes, it was. Because once again, wa- they had her cell phone records. They were saying that she went missing on October 31st. Now she went there, saw about the car, took pictures of the car, and he said that she drove off. Mr. Avery's girlfriend, fiance, said she spoke to him multiple times. During the time, it was said that he was committing this heinous act with his nephew. That she said they had 15, 20-minute conversations. How are you unaliving someone yet having calm conversations with your fiance?
Mm, mm, mm.
His nephew's mother said that no, you weren't there that particular time. You were here, you were there. Like, nothing adds up. Nothing ever added up in the entire case whatsoever. And it was just mind boggling to me how everything that happened was allowed to go down.
Yeah, it was definitely ridiculous. It was just all ridiculous. It was nothing that made any sense except for this is a group of people with power that hate these group of people that just trying to make a living in life, and because they got this last name Avery, we're gonna give them hell. Well, especially this one, since he's been jailed, we're gonna take him and we're gonna make the biggest example out of him that we can. And it was really sad to watch.
Because that girl's killer is like still really free. That
Yeah.
as as far as I've been seeing in this in this series so far. Once again, I'm only in episode 10. Like, her killer is still free. Her cell phone record, she went missing on October 31st. People said they were calling her and her messages were full. Yet then someone called her and they were able to get through, and their messages weren't full. Her
Yeah.
brother said that he quote unquote listened to her messages. There was also said that somebody was like calling her back to back to back, like low key stalking her a little bit.
Yeah.
Nothing about that. Like, they didn't follow any other leads besides Stephen Avery. Why? Because her car, well, that is where she was quote unquote last seen. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he said she left, and they said this was the last place she was seen. Then they found her car on the lot.
Hmm.
I have a question. If you owned a junkyard, they have a compressor for cars, don't they?
Yes.
He knew how to work the compressor. Why would he just leave the car there laying amongst branches and what was it, a door frame? Like, why would he do that? Why not just compress it and like call it a day?
Mm. 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 It's sad. It's sad. It's I just, upon watching this series, it just lets me know how corrupt things can get in this world.
Yes.
Yep. And
Oh,
there, Mr. Ken Kratz, one of the prosecutors,
oh.
one of the main ones that just kept going in on these people, on this man, on this child. I mean, y'all, I can't make this up. When you go watch it, make sure you stick around for when they had the nephew. Let me go back to his picture.
Brandon. Brennan.
When they had him in the interrogation room, when they had him in there, y'all, they coaxed him into saying whatever they wanted him to say. And then when they
Mm-hmm.
got finally tired because he just wouldn't say what they wanted him to say, then they said, basically, they said, well, who did so and so and so? They directly said exactly what they wanted
Mm-hmm.
him to admit to, and he admitted to it because he didn't know any better. He didn't know any better. And when he finally realized that, oh my gosh, I might be going, because he thought he was going to go home.
He said that he said, "Am I going to be done by 129?" The cop is like, "Why?" He says, "I have a test, or he has a project or test due for sixth
Yeah,
period." He thought he
yeah,
was going back home.
yeah, he did.
It's such a like, and see, like, I mind's my business, you know. However, like this right here, I was like, no, ma'am, like this,
It's too much.
no, it's too much,
Yeah, it was too much.
too much.
Yeah.
Cause any and the people, the quote unquote joy of your peers, can be like the joy of your most hated enemies, because none
Right.
of those people liked him. None of those people liked his family. None of those people liked him whatsoever. They were like completely and totally biased against this man in the first place. It was just so wicked to me.
Mind you, they didn't even have any DNA evidence on this man.
No, no,
Ha, ha, no
none,
DNA evidence.
none. Except for the when oh my god, when I tell you how deep this got in this whole frame, I'm gonna say it right now, this man was framed. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not talking just like regular, like, I'm going to IKEA and get like that brown frame. I'm
yeah,
t- I'm going to a sculptor to get the most elaborate diamond Swarovski crystal, diamond encrusted jewel, the bling blinged out. I can see it to Mercury and Mars frame. It was horrible.
yeah.
It was horrible. And I'm telling you, what happened with that one person, with that one juror, they made that happen. They made that happen. And I'm telling you, mm-mm, the conspiracy of it all. You have
Yeah.
to watch it. You have to watch it to understand the what what of it all.
Right. Right. Right.
It did too much for me.
Right.
Like thinking about what they did and what they said and how they made things correlate that did not even correlate was complete. I was like, yo, y'all really doing this?
And they really did it.
There's
And they really did it.
not a drop of blood. Any do you know how hard it is to clean a junkyard of all DNA?
Yeah.
Come on now. Like the bleach involved, the ammonia involved, and the other things involved.
They did it though. They did it.
Not even a hair inside of his trailer did they find from that woman.
Yeah.
It was mind boggling to me.
Yep.
It was. Because at the end of the day, I'm like, there are people that I know that I couldn't stand. Like, I wouldn't throw a hot glass of coffee on them if they were on fire. However, right is right and wrong is wrong. You feel me? Like, I couldn't have that type of stuff on my spirit where because just because I don't like you, it don't mean that when I see an injustice happening or I know you're being wronged, I'm not going to be like, no, that's wrong. Don't do that. That's not cool. So you know, if I don't even like you, you know I don't like you.
Right. Right.
I'm gonna lay hands on you, brother. Like I don't understand how people can consciously how they consciously did what they did was beyond me.
Mm.
The frame was so elaborate and just like it was
Yeah.
crazy to me. It was crazy.
Yeah. It was. And they went through a lot of trouble to do all this though. Like
You have to appreciate it.
like for
You
real.
do.
It's like, wow.
This is some real criminal mind like elaborate like it was an elaborate scheme.
Right. It was just I couldn't believe it. Like you really got to be a certain type of evil and also spend a certain amount of time and have a certain level of I don't give a damn to ruin somebody's life like that and sleep well at night.
I mean, but you see how big home he look like he eats his problems. But still, t- I don't under like you can see that man's face. He don't mm-mm, mm-mm.
I know he went through a lot. He went through a lot to the point where, I didn't know if he was going to make it through.
He spent some of his most prominent years like in prison.
Right.
Like the time when he's supposed to be like, like this man had a wife and kids. You hear
Yes.
me? A
Yes.
wife and kids.
Right.
I think it was like six of them, six kids, something like that. I don't even know. He had a lot of kids.
He had a
He was
family.
like, and he had to let it was yo, the way they ruined this man's life was so sad.
Um, what did they end up paying him?
So out of the 30, I want to say it was $36 million that he was suing the police department for. They gave him, I want to say 400,000 in the settlement. His
Wow.
lawyers got 160 and he got 240. Yeah. And
That
they
no.
assumed no liability in his wrongful imprisonment. Like y'all worked hard for that first one.
Nah, he was owed that million.
He was
Those
owed
millions.
He spent 18 years in prison for something everyone knew he did not do. Like they knew this, like they knew it. It wasn't a thought process. It was a factual. Like they factually knew this.
Uh-huh. Well, they should at least gave him $18 million, a million for each year. Yeah, but
30.
that's what happened in some of these little backwood towns, where everybody know everyone, and the sheriff is, honey, the big homie, because that's everybody cousin in town. Like, it's ridiculous.
That was technically his cousin-in-law.
Yeah,
Technically.
yeah.
But to put that though, and you should have seen the lengths that these people went through to lock this man up. I'm not even done. I'm gonna come back next week. I, I'm gonna come back next week and let y'all know what really happened, because what happened to that boy right there, railroad,
Yeah, we're gonna come back with a
railroad.
part two to this series, because it's so ridiculous. I haven't finished watching it yet.
I'll be watching it on a low and a high. I'll be at work listening. I ain't going. Don't tell nobody else. But still, it is just so good. Y'all have to watch it. You have to.
That's right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of What You Watching. If y'all see anything that y'all want us to cover, make sure you holler at your girl, Be Brown Revolutionary, and
Sunshine Lorena. Why? Because y'all know I'm nosy.
yeah, and we definitely want to get a people something to watch. This time, check out Making a Murderer on Netflix. See you guys next time.